Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. We have a great show for you today. First, why did the jury convict Richard Allen? The man accused of killing Laken Riley doesn't want a jury trial. More witnesses on the train testified that they were scared of the man that Daniel Penny subdued. Another bad guy decides he doesn't want a jury trial either. A drunk driver gets a life sentence. And a big day in this day in legal history and our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it.
Hi, lawyer.
Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, and hit that little bell for notifications. And remember, you can check us out on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Now, remember, go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for that background subscription service today. When you do sign up, you can do as many background searches as you desire on anyone here in the United States. And literally a background search report prepared while you wait and emailed to you. And you can even get updates if new information comes to the background subscription search. This is knowledge in their never-ending quest for more information. So go to crimetalksearch.com. You'll be happy you did. All right, before we get to the docket today, remember, join us live tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We will open up, that's right, the Patreon secret bat line call-in number so we can take your calls regarding the Delphi murder conviction. Usually that's saved for Patreon members, but tonight we're going to do it for everybody. Now, did the jury get it correct? Is he the bridge guy, or was this an injustice? Join us tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will take your calls and hear what you have to say. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for November 12th, 2024. And first on the docket, that's right, the Richard Allen case. What was the evidence that got Richard Allen convicted? Well, according to the prosecutor, Nick McClellan, he told the jurors in opening statements that Richard Allen's murder trial boiled down to three things. One, he was the bridge guy, a bullet, and the killings of the Delphi teenagers, Liberty Libby German and Abigail Abby Williams. And now ultimately the jury agreed with the prosecution, finding Allen guilty of all 2 counts of the murder and 2 counts of murder with kidnapping. Now, over the days of deliberations, the jury had to go through the weeks of testimony. And there's several, I guess you could say complicated pieces of evidence that the jury had to consider before they could ultimately reach their verdict. First, Libby's video capturing the grainy image of a man who ordered the girls to go down the hill. Now, the Indiana State Police enhanced the video, but the enhancement could not improve the quality of the image. And it's clear that the bridge guy was wearing a light blue jeans, a blue jacket, but one witness testified she saw a man she believed to be bridge guy covered in mud and blood and wearing a tan jacket. Now, witnesses testified that they believed that the bridge guy to be a large man, perhaps as tall as 6 feet, young, fit, and had poofy hair. Allen's attorneys pointed out in closing that Mr. Allen is only 5 feet, 5 inches tall. Now, the Indiana State police officer, Lieutenant Jerry Holloman, testified that it would have cost $10,000 to do an accurate height analysis for the bridge guy in the video. And the police, conserving resources, saving them for elsewhere, said that they made the decision not to do that analysis. Needless to say, the defense said, hey, that's an issue that they should have done to see if they got the right guy. Anyway, at the time of Allen's arrest back in October of 2022, Richard Allen was middle-aged and kind of portly, the defense noted out. Now, the Indiana State Police lab tests indicate that markings on the bullet found at the scene near the girls' bodies matched the ejector extractor and the breech markings of Allen's Sig Sauer 226. But those conclusions were made only by comparing the unfired bullets to shell casings later fired from Allen's pistol. But a defense firearms expert told jurors that comparing the unfired bullet cycled through a pistol to a fired bullet from a pistol will create different tool markings, skewing a conclusive result. He called it comparing apples to oranges. Well, then we had Allen's starting to make confessions of killing the girls back in April of 2023. He allegedly made 61 incriminating statements, either verbally or in writing, according to testimony. Now, prosecutors only played 7 recorded phone conversations during April of 2023 in which he allegedly confessed. Then in April 3rd of 2023, there was a call to Richard Allen's wife. Allen says, "I did it. I killed Abby. I killed Abby and Libby." She responds, "You're not feeling well. There's something wrong. Why would you say that? They're messing up with your medications. They're messing with you. They're messing with your mind." Allen responds, "Because maybe I did it. I think I did it." Now, at the time of the prison confessions, Allen was psychotic, according to both state and defense witnesses. And a person in that state of mind is likely to make incriminating statements in his mind. He's been persuaded to believe that he has actual involvement in the crime. Now, Allen's confessions during his psychotic period to his wife and mother often included "I think" or "I believe" as caveats to the admissions to the killing of Abby and Libby. Psychiatrists testified for both the state and the defense that persons in psychosis are prone to making statements based upon a belief in their psychotic mind. Now, prosecutors pointed to Dr. Monica Wallace's testimony that she believed he was feigning much of his behavior to manipulate prison personnel there. And Wallace said that the motive might have been to get more calls to his wife. Now, 2 psychiatrists, 1 state witness and 1 defense, as well as a neuropsychologist testified Allen was not faking his psychosis. Now, Walla, a psychologist who treated Allen at the Westville prison, was a true crime fan and had followed the case of Libby and Abby's killings, and she eventually was removed from her treatment of Allen at the Westerville prison after it was learned that she used the Indiana Department of Corrections files to learn more about the case. Now, some of Allen's alleged confessions were made to Walla, according to the prosecutors, and obviously the jury believed that. Now, in an April report, Walla noted that Allen killed them and believed the attack was sexual in nature. However, Allen couldn't remember whether he had sex with the girls. Then in May of 2023, while still in this psychotic state, Allen told Walla he ordered them down the hill, according to her report. And then also in May of 2023, he told his wife he killed the girls, and he told his mother once again. His mother said, "I think they're just messing with you. I just know you don't have it in you to do something like that." Well, 2 psychiatrists also testified that Allen was still psychotic and receiving antipsychotic medicine in the months in which he confessed. Now, however, Allen's alleged confessions to Walla's DOC psychological reports were logical, linear, story-like with a beginning, a middle, and an ending. And defense witnesses testified to that, the neuropsychologist Polly Westcott. Defense witnesses suggested that in Allen's psychosis, he was not likely to be able to speak in a linear and story-like manner. And then in an August report, Walla wrote that Allen told her he planned to sexually assault the girls after he had led them off the trails east of Delphi on the south side of the Monon High Bridge. But a van drove past him and the girls, which caused Allen to change his plans, Walla put in her reports. Now, it was then that Allen ordered the girls to ford the creek to the north banks where he killed them. Prosecutors contend that the van was Brad Weber and that he was coming home from work, and he clocked out at about 2:02, and it took him about 30 minutes to drive home, and the girls were abducted at the Monon High Bridge at about 2:13 based upon timestamps on Libby's phone. Now, defense claimed that Weber initially told police he serviced ATMs after leaving work in Lafayette, Indiana that day, but on the stand, Weber said that he went straight home after work. Indiana State Police Master Trooper Brian Harshman noted to the jurors that the only killer would know about the van on that obscure road on that date and time back on February 13th of 2017. Now, Harshman was also tasked with the job of listening to all of Allen's 700-plus phone calls from the prison, and he said he recognizes Allen's voice and the man that was on the video saying, "Go down the hill," and he said, "That's Richard Allen's voice." Now, jurors had to decide between the report of the van and Walla's report as either coming from a psychotic man or was it a genuine admission or an addition made by a true crime fan who followed the case and knew of the internet speculation about the van. Now, the defense closing arguments highlighted the shortcomings of the prosecution, including some last-minute inquiries by prosecutors on on points brought up by the defense. At one point, the defense witness who performed an analysis of Libby's phone for the state was caught off guard when asked about the phone data indicating that the headphone jack had been plugged into the phone between 5:45 and 10:32 p.m. on the day that the girls were killed. Now, based upon the prosecutor's timeline, the girls were killed after crossing the creek sometime about 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And there's no explanation for the headphone jack being accessed, defense attorneys argued, and pointed out that the state didn't even know the phone's jack had been accessed. Well, jurors ultimately got the case at about 1:25 on Thursday, November 7th, and they deliberated for about 2 hours before stopping for the day. They resumed deliberations at 9 a.m. on Friday, November 8th, and then on Saturday, November 9th, the jury deliberated from 9 a.m. to about 2:45. They took Sunday off, returned to the courthouse Monday, November 11th, and reached a verdict in the early afternoon. In total, the jury spent 18 hours deliberating over a period of 4 days. Now, ladies and gentlemen, whether you agree with the verdict or you don't agree with the verdict, the reality of it is the juror had to weigh the evidence. They had to judge the credibility. Remember, they can believe some part or all of the testimony of a witness. And obviously, I haven't heard anything yet from any jurors who actually deliberated on this case. But I think the thing that's going to jump out is, one, the van, a fact that really wasn't known. That was known, but he mentioned it to his psychiatrist, and then that was corroborated. And then the admissions. I'm telling you, from a defense attorney perspective, admissions are the worst thing to overcome. And I've hired experts to go over false confessions and things of that nature. It can happen, but it's less and less likely. Normally when you get a false confession, yes, maybe somebody is psychotic, mental health issues, and the jury obviously weighed and considered that in this particular case, or there's some force or coercion going on. So the jury has decided, but join us at 6 p.m. Mountain Time tonight. Like I said, we're going to give you the call-in number, and we'll take your calls, and we'll talk about it. And, if we have a lot of people, we'll just keep going until, we're done. Next, never waive a jury. Well, the migrant accused of murdering the Georgia nursing student, Laken Riley, has waived his right to a jury trial, and now his fate will be determined by a judge. Now, Jose Ibarra's waiver and approval came during a hearing in Athens, Georgia, just one day before jury selection was due to start in this case. Now, Mr. Ibarra is 26 years old and came to the United States over the southern border, and he is accused of killing a 22-year-old woman back in February by hitting her over the head, asphyxiating her, and intending to sexually assault her. The defense team had requested that the fingerprints be thrown out, claiming that they were collected illegally by the police. Now, during the hearing, the district attorney stated that the defense had contacted her last week and said that they wanted a bench trial. Then, after the judge questioned Mr. Ibarra via translator, the judge said he found that Mr. Ibarra was making the decision knowingly and voluntarily to waive his right to have a jury trial. Now, his trial is scheduled to start on Friday, and prosecutors have already indicated they are not seeking the death penalty, and they will instead push for a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Now, in addition to the 10-count indictment to the connection of Laken Riley's murder, Mr. Ibarra is also facing another charge for allegedly peeping at a University of Georgia staff member on the same day as the slaying. Now, for those who don't recall, Miss Laken Riley's body was found on February 22nd, covered in dirt and mulch after a friend told police she had not returned from a morning run near the University of Georgia campus. Now, Mr. Ibarra had made his way from New York, where he was arrested in August of 2023 for riding a gas-powered moped with a 5-year-old on the back of it without a helmet. Now, after being cut loose from custody, Mr. Ibarra then allegedly fled to Georgia, where his brother Diego, who has ties to the gang Tren de Aragua, lives, according to police. Now, Ibarra has pled not guilty to the charges, including 1 malice murder, felony murder, kidnapping, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, hindering an emergency telephone call, tampering with evidence, and being a peeping Tom. Now, generally, I don't care how bad the facts are in your particular case, you don't waive a jury, right? Because the prosecution has to prove the case to 12 people beyond a reasonable doubt to each and every element of the offense. Now they only have to do it to one person, the judge, who knows all the facts, who's ruled the evidence wasn't collected illegally, and is obviously going to find him guilty. But going in front of a jury is actually, it's a scary thing for a lot of people. to be looked at, to be judged, so to speak. A lot of people don't like it. We have lots of clients that don't want to go to trial, but they don't want to plead guilty either. So we have a little dilemma. Well, eventually somebody's going to have to decide, and well, it's either a judge or a jury. Next, let's talk about the Daniel Penny case. New testimony today. For those who don't know, Mr. Daniel Penny is a United States Marine Corps veteran. He's 26, and he's on trial for manslaughter in New York City after placing a homeless man by the name of Jordan Neely in a chokehold on the subway back in May of 2023. Now, when the proceedings left on Friday, several witnesses who were on the train described being terrified by the unhinged Neely as he threatened and lunged at people. And one veteran strap hanger, subway rider, said that she was scared shitless by his behavior and told cops at the scene that he scared the living daylights out of everybody before Mr. Penny was brave enough to intervene. Now, a lifelong New Yorker testified that Jordan Neely looked like he was asleep during Mr. Penny's chokehold. Now, Derek Clay, a Queens resident and barber, said he called 911 after about 5 or 6 minutes of watching Penny and Neely struggle. Clay said he told the 911 operator that Neely looked like he was asleep. The witness clarified for the jury that he thought Neely was sleeping because he wasn't moving. Now, Mr. Clay testified that when the subway car stopped, everyone burst off the train rather quickly. He said, quote, "I was sitting in the corner. I saw two gentlemen on the subway car floor." He said they were wrestling or something of that nature, and he was being detained, end quote. Now, during the 911 call, Clay said a black guy was on the floor and the other man had him in a chokehold. Eric Gonzalez testified that he got on the Uptown F train, headed to his construction job when he saw Penny holding Neely down. Everyone was frantic. He was saying, "Call the cops, call the cops." I figured one was trying to restrain the other until the cops came. He said he jumped in to try and help. He says, quote, "I'm going to grab his hands so you can let go," Gonzalez said to Penny, adding he hoped the military veteran would remove his arm from Neely's neck. There was another time when he said, "You can let go. I'm holding on to him," Gonzalez told the jury. Now, Gonzalez said Neely tapped on somebody nearby, indicating he wanted Penny to let go. He wanted to be released, Gonzalez said to Neely, adding it looked like he was trying to escape. Now, despite Gonzalez's effort to get Penny to release Mr. Neely, Penny didn't and kept a hold of him. Eventually, Mr. Gonzalez said Neely's body went limp. Now, after the incident, Gonzalez said he was scared to learn he was a suspect in Neely's death. Gonzalez said he is still fearful about his involvement in the case as of today. He says, "There are people protesting going on. I'm scared for myself and I'm scared for my family," Mr. Gonzalez told the jury. Now, Althea Gittens, who testified Friday that she was scared shitless by Neely's rantings, well, her body cam video has been released. And we'll put it at the end of the video in case anybody wants to watch it in its entirety. Well, I got the feeling after I watched the video that she was, well, truly scared, and she thought that Daniel Penny was doing the honorable thing. Next, another bad guy wimps out and doesn't want a jury. An Ohio man accused of kidnapping a woman and holding her captive for days in a garage pled guilty just moments before jury selection was to begin. William Monzingo Jr. was charged with kidnapping, felonious assault, abduction, and strangulation for an attack on a 23-year-old woman by the name of Chloe Jones. Now, she was rescued by police from this Akron garage, and police responded to this garage back in October of 2023, where they found Miss Jones inside the garage with serious physical injuries. Now, after her rescue, relatives said that she suffered facial fractures, broken bones, and even had a brain bleed. Then, just yesterday, Mr. Monzingo pled guilty to the charges, including escape charge in another case. The judge sentenced him to 25 to 31 years in prison. Now, police say that Monzingo, who knew Ms. Jones, offered to drive her home before kidnapping her, and her mother described the attacks as basically he doused her in gasoline and then threatened to light her on fire. Now, Monzingo also beat Ms. Jones with a baseball bat, hit her with his fists, and would then cuddle with her between the beatings. Now, Ms. Jones had been missing for about 4 days before she was ultimately found. And on body cam video that was going to be shown, it showed police officers helping Miss Jones down from what looked like a hole in the roof in the garage. And guess what? Mr. Monzingo was being taken away in handcuffs. And what does he say to Chloe, the woman he kidnapped, doused with gasoline, would beat her, and then cuddle with her? That's right. He said, "I love you, Chloe." I hope he gets the 31 years instead of the 25. I hope he stays in there the entire time. That is just wrong. Evil is the best words to describe it. A little election day violence. Not that it's directly related to the election, just it took place on the election day. But a Seattle woman killed her father with an ice axe after the pair got into an argument over keeping the lights on or off. Now, this all took place on election day. Now, prosecutors allege that Corey Burke, who appeared to be having some sort of mental health crisis on election day, is accused of murdering Timothy Burke, her father, inside their home at about 8 p.m. in King County, according to the prosecutors. Now, police spotted Miss Corey leaving the house in Rainier Valley with blood on her face, and she allegedly broke the window to a home. Now, when officers went inside the home, they found Timothy's body with wounds to his head and torso, including a 2-inch laceration to his rib cage. Another puncture wound was near the base of his skull. Yeah, from the ice pick. That's right, a silver and blue ice climbing pickaxe with blood was also found by the police nearby the body. Now, Corey, the daughter, who was sent to the hospital for a mental health evaluation, allegedly confessed to investigators the next day that she killed her father with the axe and also tried to strangle him. She also admitted to biting her father while choking him. And Corey stated, quote, "When her father started arguing with her about the lights being shut off, she just freaked out," end quote. Now, Corey also told detectives that she knew she could not convince him to keep the lights off. So she went upstairs, retrieved the ice pick, and then, tripped her father, strangled him, and then with the axe in her hands, beat him and bit him several times and hit him in the head with the blunt object and the sharp ends of the ice axe. Now, the daughter's been charged with first-degree murder. She's being held at the county detention center on a $2 million bond. Her arraignment is set for November 21st. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The lights. Let's stab somebody with the pickaxe. The lights being at issue as to whether they come on or off. Unbelievable. Next, a felony drunk driver in Texas gets a life sentence. That's right, a 71-year-old man in Texas with a routine of getting behind the wheel while drunk is probably going to spend the rest of his life behind bars after being convicted of driving while intoxicated for the 6th time. Is that all you got? I think I represented a guy that had 9 DUIs, ladies and gentlemen. 9. But they only became felonies here in Colorado within the last 5 years. So you just go to jail for a year. Anyway, a jury in Texas last month convicted Joseph Herron, and now he has been sentenced to serve a sentence of life in a state correctional facility for his repeated drunk driving. Now, under the law, an individual convicted of 3 or more driving offenses with 2 prior prison sentences from the offenses is subject to 25 years to life in prison and a fine of up to $10,000. Given his age of 71 years, I'm going to say he's going to spend the rest of his days in custody. And the thing is, will it be sober or will he be getting drunk on jailhouse prison hooch? Next, this day in legal history, we got a big day. November 12th, 1824, Yale Law School opened in New Haven, Connecticut, obviously becoming the leading institution in legal education at the time. I know, little Ivy League joke here. How can you tell when somebody went to an Ivy League school within the first 5 minutes of meeting them? They'll tell you. Thank you. We'll be here all week. Make sure you try the veal and tip your waitress, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And then on November 12, 1972, the court held in Apodaca v. Oregon that the non-unanimous jury verdicts in criminal cases were constitutional, provided they had a sufficient majority. Now, that decision has been affected ultimately by Ramos v. Louisiana, which was decided by the Supreme Court in 2020, which required unanimous verdicts for all criminal cases. Then on November 12th, 1995, the Supreme Court heard arguments in the Seminole Tribe versus Florida, a case about the Native American gaming rights and state sovereignty. And the court ultimately ruled that the states were immune from certain lawsuits by Native tribes impacting Native American sovereignty and gaming laws. which means they get to keep all the money and the state can't regulate them. They are their own country, ladies and gentlemen. Next, on November 12th, 1948, former Japanese Premier Hideki Tojo and several other World War II Japanese leaders were sentenced to death for war crimes. And then on November 12th, 1997, Ramzi Youssef and two co-conspirators were convicted of plotting the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center in New York. Now, Youssef was later given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. And finally today, our dumb criminal of the day. Please meet Samantha Steele. Now, she is a lawmaker, a Democrat from Evanston, Illinois, and is facing charges for driving under the influence after crashing her car into another car on Sunday evening. Now, Ms. Steele admitted to the crash and showed signs of indicia of intoxication, which included bloodshot, watery eyes, a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage. Officers also found an open bottle of red wine in her car, and despite being asked to perform field sobriety tests, she refused and demanded a lawyer. Now, during her arrest, she repeatedly mocked the arresting officer, asking if his penis is that small. This is not Miss Steele's first controversy she's been involved in. She's also facing a whistleblower lawsuit filed by a former aide, Frank Calabrese, who accused her of pressuring him to engage in political activity and leaking confidential information about a property tax appeal related to the Chicago Bears. Now, Ms. Steele was also criticized for giving a job to a convicted politician and for her handling of the Bears tax situation. Now, she is scheduled to appear in court for her DUI charge on December 27th. Merry Christmas, Miss Steele. Little words of advice here. You were doing the right stuff, not admitted to drinking, refusing the roadside sobriety tests. But when you start attacking the police officer, that's going into the police report. And guess what? The prosecutor, not going to be happy. You know who else is not going to be happy? The judge. And if you're going to tell the police officer something, say, you're terrible at your job. You're fat. You're skinny. Something along those lines. You're an idiot. Don't question his size of his penis. Bad. Anyway, that's all we have for today. Please join us tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We will be talking about the Richard Allen case. We'll be opening up the phone line so you can call in and talk about it. Join us 6 p.m. tonight. Thanks for watching. Remember, the Constitution matters.
The whole train was freaked out. He was either going to pull a gun, a knife, or
said, I'm willing to die. I'm willing to die. You know, I'm willing to get killed.
Let me get a name and a phone number.
Someone at the level 1 of Central. Camera by all my units to the negative soul.
The guy in the tan did take him down very respectfully and just held him down. He wasn't
I think that the guy is totally drunk down.
These two young ladies right here.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you see?
What did I see? I was sitting over there. I heard the young man that's on the floor saying, hey, I'm willing to die, I'll do anything. I'm willing to die. I'll go to jail. I don't care. And he was saying it so loud that everyone turned around.
Ladies and
So this young
gentlemen,
man,
this train is going to be held here for a long period of time. You'll find it up on the cell phone.
Walk down. These two young ladies right here.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you see?
What did I see? I was sitting over there. I heard the young man that's on the floor saying, hey, I'm willing to die, I'll do anything. I'm willing to die. I'll go to jail. I don't care. And he was saying it so loud that everyone turned around. So this young man, he got belligerent and he tackled him down.
Who?
The one that just passed away in the brown jacket, the one that just went past.
The guy in the brown jacket.
Yeah, you got to see the guy in the brown jacket. Yeah.
You got this for the guys in the briefs here. You got a brown jacket, tan jacket. Take them to the precinct right now. Take it away to the 5th precinct.
So he took him to the ground. The guy with the brown jacket took him to the ground.
Yeah, he took him to the ground and he gave him a chokehold. Not a hard chokehold, just enough to secure him, and the guy fought. and he kept holding him. All right, and then that's when everybody totally realized what was going on. And I think this guy's on drugs, you know, because when he came in, he was unbelievably off the charts. He scared the living daylights out of everyone.
How did he bring him down to the ground? Like he picked him up and threw him on the ground?
I remember he stood up, grabbed him, turned him around, and put him to the ground.
All right.